This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. And your boy is disappointed. 100%, ladies and gentlemen. I'm disappointed at this basketball team. I'm sorry. And I know some people say it doesn't matter. They got the 3rd seed anyway. It does matter. Because they backed into the 3rd seed. They didn't take control of their own destiny. That means something to me. You know what I mean? You heard Clyde. You lose this game, you're going into the playoffs with a weak mindset. That's how I feel. That we are going into the playoffs with a weak mindset. I don't give a damn about the Brooklyn game. You were up 23 points. 23 points. 23 points. And you allowed this team back in to win the game by 6. And this is the second time in however long that the Knicks gave up a big lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's bad juju to me. That Cleveland is so confident against us. So confident that they feel like they can come back no matter what. You know what I mean? No matter what. I don't know, man. And the Knicks obviously lack the confidence to believe that they can put this team away. Both teams wanted to win. Cleveland wanted to send a message to the Knicks just in case they meet in the playoffs. And the Knicks wanted to send a message to the Cavs. Close game, so what? You know what? Just like the last game, people can say, well, it was a close game. The Knicks lost by 6. That's a 29-point turnaround. I'm sorry. That's a 30-point loss, bro. That's a 29-point turnaround. I don't know. Like, where's the edge? Where's the edge? That's what I'm looking for. Where is the edge with this basketball team? I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not feeling it. I hear the talk about being better. I hear the talk. Bro, you got to back it up on the court. You know what I mean? Back it up on the court. Because I don't know, man. It's tough for me. It's tough for me. You know what I mean? Because, I don't know. Tony, what's popping with you, bro, man? How are you feeling? You always have a positive outlook. So tell me how you're feeling, because I'm disappointed. We got the 3rd seed. I'm glad about that, but I'm just I'm not feeling or seeing the edge that I want to see going into the playoffs, and that bothers me.
Yeah, it's not much positivity for me today, son. This was the biggest, this the biggest lead we've blown all year. You know, like you said, we just blew a lead to them earlier, like a week ago or whatever it was. Blew a lead to OKC that first game. Yeah. it's no moral victory like the Boston game. I was taking positives away from that. Nope. I think this one really fed like Garland feel like I could beat them myself.
Myself.
You know what I mean? Let alone what Donovan has done to us this year.
Right.
So they gonna be super confident. And granted, it's not just beating us. Like they deserve to be confident the way they've played all year.
Yeah, no
You,
doubt.
you know what I mean? So, but yeah, there's probably no fear. There's no worry. There's no concern if we end up matching up. I mean, I will say this though. I mean, they would have to take if we go through Boston to meet them, that has to say something as well. But still,
It does.
you know what I mean? Like this is not a good way to enter the playoffs.
Right.
We're not playing our best. We're gonna face Detroit, who they're gonna be confident going up against us, beating us 3 out of the 4 games this year. You know what I mean? It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a true test to see how gritty this team can really be, how tough this team really could be.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to really show it right out the gate. You know what I mean? No easy first round, nothing. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And it bothers me that they couldn't take control of their own destiny to get that 3rd seed.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like win to get the 3rd seed. Get the win. Control your destiny. You know what I'm saying? It took Indiana to lose to get the 3rd seed. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm bothered by it. And I know Karl Anthony Towns was sitting, but so was Donovan Mitchell,
It was like 3
DeAndre
guys
Hunter.
sitting for them.
You know what I'm saying? That they had guys sitting.
Hunter.
I don't know, man. It's I don't know. Let me
You
get your
talk
phone.
about controlling our destiny. You know what I mean? If we don't handily beat Detroit, we ain't even gonna control our narrative. You know what I mean? Because the narrative is gonna change coming into next year
Right.
about who this team is, what the expectation is,
Right.
and everything else.
Right. Yeah. Big Bubba's on the phone. What's up, man?
Hey, Steph, you can hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. I'm
Tony Black is on, man.
I'm going to make a shirt that says Big Bubba was popping, and then under it's going to say, "Hey Sim, can you hear me?" Because it's just about every single time you get on. I bet you every time you call somebody and they say, "Hello," you probably say, "Can you hear me?"
I do. Actually, I do. I do sometimes.
Why?
I don't know, man. Just gotta make sure you hear me, man. Gotta make sure.
Okay.
Sim, man. I mean, you already know how I feel about this. I'm just really disgusted, man. I'm truly disgusted by this team. You know, so I'm gonna go even further. I wish Indiana would have won. That's how bad I feel about this team. I wish Indiana won, so we would be forced to be the 4th seed. Because the Knicks don't deserve to be the 3rd seed. The Knicks, I'm sorry, this team is terrible. This team has just been beating up on bad teams. We've had a few signature wins, but other than that, man, we haven't been great. We haven't been elite. When we get blown out, we don't come back. The game be over by first quarter. People already know when the Knicks let a team score 40 points in the first quarter, we lose. But when it comes to the Knicks, everybody can come back because this team don't got any dogs on it. It's getting to the point I'm just so frustrated because this team has nobody that's gonna be vocal and just straight up a dog. And you know what, Sim? I remember I was talking to Guillermo and he pointed something out that it just made sense, and this is to me the definition of the team. So remember Golden State game when we played Golden State at Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
When Draymond Green made all those comments about Cat,
Right.
and the Knicks players were still dapping him up after the game.
Mm-hmm.
That shows you what kind of team this is. That's the team that we have. No dogs, nobody tough enough, nobody got the courage just to, we ain't dapping him up. This our teammate. We ain't dapping him up. Like,
Hey,
this team is just
to
too
play devil's
passive. This team is,
advocate, I think they were actually giving us credit because it looked like they came to the Knicks. You know what I mean? They approached the Knicks players, like kind of giving them credit for I'll say competing, even though we should have won that game.
like, this team all year has just been so passive, so non-aggressive, just so soft. And I hate to say that because you know what? I like Cat, but this is what people were talking about when it comes to Cat. The softness. And I think we have too many quiet players. Like, it's just, I don't know if we're going to beat Detroit. I really don't know. And a part of me, Sim, I'm not going to lie to you, wish we don't beat Detroit because I need this team. I need Leon Rosen to understand what this team really needs because right now, this ain't it. This is not going to win us a championship. There's no type of fight in this team. When we go down, it's over. When we're up, I don't even know we're going to win the game. Because it is no way in hell you're up 23 points and this Cavaliers team does not have Donovan Mitchell and you don't close this game. It should have been Kolick and all these dudes up in the fourth quarter playing on garbage time minutes. But no, we want to sit around and lose and act like we did something. This team, this win. I'm not gonna lie to you, son. This loss really pissed me off, and I am really pissed off because this is not how you're supposed to end the season. This is not how you're supposed to end the season on a 3-game losing streak against playoff team when you were up in all these games and you just give it up because, well, who the hell cares? That's how I feel this team does. They don't care.
See, I don't know that they gave up. That's the problem for me.
I'm sorry. This should be no reason why you have 4 of your 5 starters in the game and you lose to the Cavs with no Donovan Mitchell and no Hunter. There's no excuse.
See,
unless you're not that good.
The problem for me is that they didn't just give up. They continued to play hard. They tried to win the game. They could not win the game because they didn't have that. They just don't have that kind of fight. They played, and they played hard. That's the part that bothers me. I'm not saying that the Knicks won't get there. I don't think they're getting there this season. It may have to be and we discussed this, right? We discussed it. But fire is something that do you develop it? Do you develop? Can you develop that toughness? Can you develop that grittiness? I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
The Knicks got to figure something out because you know what? No, like you said, nobody cares if we beat the Nets. Nobody cares. That doesn't matter because again, this team lacks the killer instinct.
Yeah.
Lacks the aggressiveness. Lacks the mindset to blow these teams out. Like I said, this whole season, look at our wins. We just beat up on the bad teams, the below 500 teams, the fringe teams. We don't beat up on the good teams. We're literally like 0-10 against the good teams. So it's just, I don't know, Sim. Hey, listen, I know people want to call in Sim, Tony.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, the next game doesn't really matter. I don't really care about that one. It's just this game just left a bad taste in my mouth, man. And we'll see what we do against Detroit, man. We're gonna have a week of rest, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Bubba, I appreciate it. I can hear it sounds like you're in the car. Take care of yourself. Don't get in no accidents. I hear noises
I'm
going
good,
off in the
man.
background.
I can't go out like that.
Yeah. Be easy. Don't Don't
All
get
right,
into no
man.
accidents. Stay alive for us, please.
Yes, sir.
I need to whoop that ass in a couple of months. Then you can do what you want to do.
Sid. Yo, Tony, you better be there, Tony.
Yeah, we got a bet going on. Tony. Big Bubba, bet me. We got a bet going on. If he beats me, I'll start a petition to fire Tom Thibodeau. That petition will never see the light of day because this man cannot beat me.
Tony's going to be the guest referee. Tony's going to be the referee.
Well,
So,
okay.
He's gonna have a lot of supporters.
Yeah, he's gonna
have a lot of people rooting for him.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna have the fan base. He's gonna have the fans on his side. There's no doubt about that. So a lot of the fan base will be on his side, and a lot of the fan base will be disappointed.
Tony, never lost. Never lost, Tony.
Never lost. What?
Never lost.
Never lost.
You never lost what?
Never lost, Tony. That's it. I'm not talking to you, Tim. Never lost. That's it.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna let this guy go.
I was there, bro.
Peace, Big Bubba. Yeah, he was there. Peace, Big Bubba. Peace.
Yeah,
Peace.
out.
You out of there. Kicking you out. Let me see something. There was something in the chat I wanted to address real quick. Because this always comes up. J-Rock said the lack of preparation and focus in all these games has to fall on the coach. How is there lack of preparation when the Knicks went up by 23 points? I think they were prepared. You know, a team goes up. I mean, that's partly due to preparation, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's partly due to preparation. So, you know, I think the Cavs are better. Simple as that. And they've proved throughout this season that they are double digits better than us. It's just what I see. Every time we've had a lead against this team, they've been able to come back, and they believe that they can come back. Or when we didn't have a lead, they beat us by large numbers.
Do you think we're closer to Cleveland or to Boston?
I don't know. I'm not sure because I feel like with Cleveland, both of those teams, every time when they decide to turn it on, there's nothing we can do. You know, they decide to turn up the heat, and we melt. I'm not sure who we're closer to. You know, the way we play the Cavs, because it seems like we've had a lead in every game except maybe one. You know, maybe it would feel like maybe we're closer to Cleveland, right? Because like we build these leads, you know, we just don't have that killer instinct to stomp them out, I guess. You know, Jason Benjamin, thank you for the super chat. He said, "How is a third team terrible?" This is Big Bubba's homeboy. The team will be judged in the postseason. Also, Hart cannot continue to start. His honeymoon phase is up. Everyone needs to relax. I think what you're saying about needing to relax. I don't know. I'm just worried about this team's mindset going into the playoffs, and if they have a tough enough mindset, you know. This right here, so many people, we have no fiery players like last year. So many people are missing this right there, I feel like. And everybody, you know, a large portion wants to blame everything on the coach. Tom Thibodeau makes mistakes all the time. Just like every coach in the NBA. Tom Thibodeau makes mistakes. There's no doubt about it. He's got his ways. Some people like it, some people don't. You know what I mean? He's got his style, and he's gonna play with his style, like it or not. But don't miss the fact that we don't have those type of fiery players, those laptop slapping players, those guys that'll come down and try to dunk on you really, really hard, like DiVincenzo would. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Don't discount that. You know what I'm saying? And don't discount that and what this team is.
when we were rumored to be interested in one, most of the Knicks fans didn't want no parts of him. I forgot the gentleman's name, but I'm sure he will. The dude who was asking for Jimmy Butler, and everybody was like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
The caller, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he that was one of the things that he pointed out, and what Jimmy Butler would bring. So, but you know what I mean? It's a thin line. The last guy we had that slapped the last laptop, nobody really, you know what I mean? A lot of fans wasn't feeling him.
Now look at him. He's slapping laptops out the coach's hand. Now we miss that though. Now we miss that. Now we miss it. You know what I'm saying? Now we like, damn, we wish we had someone who had that type of attitude. You know what I mean? Now we miss that. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Mr. Benjamin, what's poppin' with you, man? How you feeling?
What's going on, fellas? Sim and Tony, how y'all doing, man?
Chilling, man.
Peace, family.
Good, man. What's good, brother? Hey, I know I just sent that super chat, but I thought I'd call in. Yeah, man, I definitely understand where everybody's at. I wanted to win too, but like I stated, man, this team is going to be judged come postseason. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm kind of keeping my patience on to see how we perform in the playoffs. Like I stated the other day to Sim, we've had our ups and downs through the year. Overall, I think it's been a success. Mm-hmm. But here's 3 things I wanted to raise so you can get to other callers. There's 2 people in my opinion, and you may even say I'm overreacting, but Thibodeau and Hart, to me, the honeymoon phase is over for those 2. First with Tibbs. Like I told you some the other day, I like to remind fans where we've been in the past, how we've been a laughingstock, right? And how I stated that the road to championship isn't always like a plane where you take off the ground, you get to 30,000 feet, and you just coasting, right? So I don't want to repeat that statement because I know everybody heard that, but it's baby steps, right? Before Tibbs, the Knicks were a laughingstock of the league. We were the laughingstock. We were the Charlotte Hornets. You know what I mean? We was that kind of organization from top to bottom, right? Now we're competent. I would say like a very, very competent NBA team, right? That's what Tibbs has brought us to. Very competent. Great, right? I think we're a team with a high floor and a low ceiling right now. And the next step is to find either a player and or coach that will bring us to that Celtics level, that OKC level, that Cleveland level. To me, that's the next step in this process, right? We've all stated before the season, this is a 2 to 3, maybe even 4-year window, right? So if we don't do anything this year, I'm fine with that because I didn't expect us to win the championship this year either. The Celtics and the Cavs are just playing better than us. I've kind of felt that way throughout the season. And unfortunately, it's proven to be true, right? So I'm not even thinking about no championship right now. I will root for the team, and I will hope we'll make it far. So those are 2 different things. But we're a low ceiling, we're a low floor height. How do I say it? We're a low ceiling, high floor kind of team at this point in our progression as an organization.
Why do you think we have
Hard.
a low ceiling, given that this team is for the most part new, and we have a core of 5 or 6 players who are either at the beginning of their prime or haven't reached their prime yet?
Right. No, you're right, son. That is true. We do have players. But let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
2 teams. When I say Celtics, Knicks, who's the best player on that court between both teams?
Jason Tatum.
Okay. If I tell you Cleveland Knicks, objectively, who you think is the best player on that floor?
Probably Donovan Mitchell.
Okay. If I give you OKC Knicks, who would you say is probably the best player on the court?
Probably SGA.
Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean, right? We are, like I stated, we're not a laughing stock anymore. We've completed that journey in the last maybe 4 years, right? From laughing stock to a competent NBA team with potential, right? I'm not going to make it seem like we don't have potential. We do have potential.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. I think we're missing, and I'm agreeing with you, Sim and Tony. The toughness is lacking. I'm not even going to argue with that point, right? But like I've always stated, toughness doesn't always necessarily mean better, right? Us as fans, us as New Yorkers, or people that grew up loving the Knicks, we know that toughness, the 90s Knicks, like that's what we grew up on. So we hold that stuff dearly to us. But like I stated before, the Celtics to me aren't a tough team. They're just from 1 to 7. They're just better than you. That's just the bottom line. They're just a better team than you, right? Tatum and OG got into it, but I don't think anybody's fearing those two in the NBA. Tatum is going to bust your ass. He's going to put 30 on you. And there's nobody really on our team that could defend him, right? So that's kind of my issue, not issue with the team, but some of the shortcomings I see. On to Hart. I don't want to underestimate the value he brings us, but I've said it all season. Yes, he'll have his moments, but he's not a starter. He's not a starter, right? Shamet today was on a heater, and he was on a heater yesterday. Deuce, his shot has gotten so good from his rookie year till now. Why, for the love of me, are those two sitting on the bench when we couldn't make a bucket? Right, and this is why I bring into the Tibbs thing. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. Evidently, he's a tremendous NBA coach. We all know that. It's not even a debate. But it's some of these decisions where people say, "Oh, well, that's Tibbs." You know how Tibbs is. Well, you know, Tibbs is on Tibbs. That's not good enough for me no more, man. Hart. When people say we have a 5-out offense, we don't have a 5-out offense. Pat's abilities where he could really blossom our offense is negated because you can have Mobley sag off a Hart. You can have Jason Tatum sag off a Hart or whoever's guarding Hart. And this is not a knock to Hart. We love him as a player, right? He brought that culture back to us, that that fighter, underdog. He's 6'4", but he plays power forward. We love that about him, but this fascination with playing him all game has got to stop, man. And I know I'm not saying it like you guys can change it, but this is my frustration with Tibbs. Put Shamet back in the game. What is it going to hurt to give him? I mean, what is Hart giving us so much more? Yeah, he made that big 3 at corner. I'll give him that one. But that's maybe once a game. Teams are going to continue. They'll let him have that shot. I would. If Hart kills you with 3 to 5, 5 to 8 3-point shooting, you just tip your cap to him and say, a great game. But everybody's going to sag off of him. So my thing is, I'm not saying you don't play him in high pressure moments, but there were some parts of the game tonight where I'm like, put Shamet back in, man. Put Deuce back in. Let him hit a shot. Maybe he could swing the game back. And in high pressure situations, you want to put Hart back in for defense or rebounding, put him back in. So that's my only 2 issues, right, with the Tibbs and Hart thing. And I'll wrap it up so you guys can go. I'm not tripping. Yeah, we've had a rough week where, of course, we all wish they had some games, but the team will be judged come the postseason. I've been saying that all season. 50 wins is still a good accomplishment. I think it's the first Knicks team since I don't know when to have back-to-back 50-win seasons, right? Detroit is going to be a hard matchup, no doubt about it. But my expectation is that we beat them, right? We are a better team than them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're playing with house money. I would too if I was Detroit. They're young. They don't know no better. So they coming in with guns blazing. But Brunson's been in high-pressure moments when he was with the Mavs and us playoffs. People forget Mitchell Robinson's been in some big playoff games. Josh Hart, right? Mikal, people forget Mikal went to the finals a few years ago when he was in Phoenix, right? OG, he had some big moments at the Raptors and us last year. So we're battle-tested. I know people are frustrated, but we're a battle-tested team, playoff-tested team. Yeah, we might not like it how it looks right now. We're soft, and I get that, Sam. I'm not disagreeing with you and you, Tom. I'm not disagreeing with y'all. But let's see how this playoff run goes. That's what I'm looking forward to, and I think that's what's really going to be judged by Tibbs, the players, and even Leon Rose. Right? I'm not saying we're gonna sweep Detroit, but I don't think no more than 6 games. They're gonna get one at home. They got the energy. They got the crowd. I'll give them that one at home, maybe even 2. But I think we're gonna win in 6. And thanks for taking my calls, fellas. And Sam, I'm with you. We have to find something next year, right? Outside of another player, as far as talent, or to upgrade that 4 position so you can move Hart to the bench. You're right, Sam. We are missing that kind of that energy. That's what I like to call it instead of toughness, because I don't know dudes personal enough to call them soft, or this one's soft and this one's hard, or whatever the case may be. Because I don't know them dudes. But I'll say we're missing that kind of energy that we kind of had last year that we don't. So
yeah,
appreciate the call, fellas. I'll listen off there.
Appreciate you, my bro.
I ain't even gonna lie. I was just sitting here thinking about what we were saying, and I know we was referencing Randall a lot, but honestly, the biggest thing that we missing is Hartenstein. Like his toughness
we miss his toughness
on the floor, change things.
Yeah,
and yeah, like you know what I mean. He was fiery, defensive stopper. You know what I mean. Like at pivotal times throughout the course of games, and it was a momentum changer, a shift. You know what I mean? It shift the games a lot of the times for us.
Right.
It will be interesting if I don't know if they're gonna make that change or how many minutes Robinson will get with Cat, but his defensive presence may help to kind of jumpstart some of that energy.
Yeah.
But Hartenstein, man, he was huge on that side of the that aspect of the game for us.
And I think with what Jason was saying, when he asked like who's the best player on the floor for each of those respective teams, I think if you're out talented, if you don't have as much talent as the other team, the grittiness, the toughness gives you an edge. It counteracts the lack of talent. You know what I'm saying? Because now you make shooting tough for those teams, right? You put aggressive, you beat them up a little bit, right? Now they second guess whether or not they want to go to the basket, and those type of things. Yeah, they get fouled, they might go to the line, but their arms are tired because they're tired of getting slapped in the forearms. They're trying to get, they're tired of it.
And it dictated the way the game was with the refs. Like one thing about us last year, you know what I mean? Like we were gonna outwork you. You know what I mean? We was gonna hit you. We was gonna, you was gonna feel us every time and dictated, you know what I mean, or at least tried to dictate how the game was gonna be officiated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as opposed to turning it up, which is what we have to do now. And I think that's the position we were putting other teams in last year,
right?
Where they had to up their energy, they had to up their toughness, and it was unnatural for a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where
Exactly.
we just came in with it night in, night out.
That's how we did it. Yeah, and I
Can we
think
get there though? Because we also said we identified that as Thibodeau. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So, is it something that we could get to, or you know what I mean?
you know, I don't know, you know, and I think also, you know, he said that we're a playoff tested team. I'm not sure with this team because there's so many new pieces. Brunson, you know, has been in the playoffs with this team. This would be his third year in the playoffs with this team. Deuce, you know, has been here since Tom Thibodeau's second year, I guess. You know, so he's been in the playoffs two or three times with this team. Mitchell Robinson's been in the playoffs with this team, right? Those three guys, yeah. Josh Hart, this is his second year in the playoffs with the team. Yeah, I think maybe it's third. Maybe this is his third, right? So we got a few guys, but OG, this will be his second. This will be his second time. Right, Karl Anthony Towns first time, Mikal Bridges first time, you know, Shamet campaign first time, you know. So together as a group, okay, each one of those players have been in the playoffs, but as a team, they haven't been in the playoffs. So, you know, we've got to be tested as a team. How does the team react? How does this team react in the playoffs? We haven't seen that yet, right? Because you know, this team is so new. Like, if we had the team from last year, it would have been Randall and DiVincenzo and Hart and Brunson. Mikal Bridges would have been added. Deuce, Mitchell Robinson. And let's just say you had iHeart. Like, that group, like, would have been well tested in the playoffs together, right? Because they had that group, that team, that group of players, besides Bridges, would have been through some battles. This is a brand new team that's facing some brand new battles. You know what I mean? I still think this team has a high ceiling. I think we've got to add those grit players around the edges. You know what I'm saying? Like some really, really tough guys around the edges. I think that's why PJ Tucker was a good pickup and why he's on this team. We gotta add some guys that's not afraid to knock over Jason Tatum, knock over Jaylen Brown. You know what I'm saying? Put them on the floor and walk over them. You know, like we got to have some guys that's not afraid to do that and doesn't care who they are, doesn't give them the respect that they think they deserve. You know what I mean? And I think that's what this team does. We need some guys who don't do that.
Shamet over Mook might have been a mistake.
Might have. You know, we need some of them dudes. And I think that's what we've got to add next year. You know what I'm saying? Some real veteran guys like PJ. You know, maybe PJ Tucker stays. I don't know. I don't remember what his contract is, but you know,
it's not guaranteed next year. So
yeah,
you know, they'll have the option to keep him if they want to.
Right. So like guys like PJ Tucker. You know, just some of them grizzled vets. I'm so hoping we can find a way to get Chris Paul. Really. I don't think Pop wants to give him up, but I would love for Chris Paul to be on this basketball team. I think he's that type of guy we need that can play on the floor with that type of mindset, you know, that can help to instill it into this basketball team. You know what I mean?
Might elevate, you know what I mean? Might bring back remnants. He was on that finals team in Phoenix, right? You know what I mean? So he could potentially, you know, get in Bridges' head a little bit, help him out.
You know, right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, listen, the playoffs are coming. Still a lot we can do. You know what I mean? And Detroit, I'm gonna say it again. Detroit might be the perfect matchup for this team. And I'm not saying because we'll sweep them. It's going to be a tough series. It may be exactly what we need to put us in the right mindset to compete against Boston. It might be exactly what we need. A team that's going to fight us, that it's going to be, a drag out battle, tooth and nail, every single game that allows us to step up. I would like to see the first 3 games, 4 games be real tough battles, and then all of a sudden we figure out how to elevate, and then we blow them out the last 2 games. You know what I'm saying? And beat them 4-2. You know what I mean? But those first 4 games really like pushes us, and we figure out like, yo, we got to come in with a different mentality. That's why this Detroit team might be the perfect matchup for the Knicks. Might be the perfect matchup to help prepare us for Boston. You know what I mean? But of course, we can't overlook Detroit, obviously. But they might be the perfect matchup for us to help prepare us.
It might be the right amount of adversity.
Yeah, the right amount of adversity. You know what I'm saying? Because, and maybe even some internal adversity. Because this team doesn't have internal adversity. You know what I'm saying? And that's a little bit of a problem too. And it may sound weird, but you got to have a little bit of edge. You got to have just the right amount of adversity within your team to bring a little bit of edge. Because if everybody is just happy-go-lucky, hunky-dory, agreeing with each other, and all of that, then, whatever. If you're soft, you're going to stay soft. You know what I'm saying? You got to have somebody that's not afraid to put other players in their place. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that we have that on this basketball team. Maybe PJ Tucker is the guy. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. Let me get you a phone call. Spree, what's popping with you, bro? What's up with you, man?
What's up, Sim? What's up, Tony Crow?
Peace, Kit.
Hey, man. I got a couple comments. I thought Tibbs lost the Boston game. I thought he should have fouled Tatum. I didn't have a chance to call in, but I thought Tibbs lost the Boston game. I'm fouling Tatum there. That's just me. I'm not letting Tatum shoot 3 there. I didn't like Josh Hart on the floor for the last possession after Tatum made the 3. I know the play was to get I'm assuming because Mikal was inbounding the ball, kind of like in the Portland game when Mikal hit the game winner. I'm assuming the plan was to get Mikal the ball back because he was inbounding it. But Josh Hart ended up, Boston guarded it, and Hart had to take the 3. And in my opinion, again, I'm just giving you my take as a fan, I'm not having Josh Hart on the floor with 2 seconds left in the game. That's just me. We have other people that can shoot the ball. That's just my opinion on the Boston game, Sim. But, where I'm at, I'm with you. I think this could help us that we're playing Detroit in the first round. I actually agree with what you're saying, both of you. Another thing, like everybody's asking me, like, do you want the 3 seed? Do you want the 4 seed? Where I'm at on that thing, Sim, is for the New York Knicks to go to the NBA Finals, let's be real about this. There's a 95% chance that we're going to have to beat both Boston and Cleveland to get to the NBA Finals. Is that a fair statement?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we got the 3rd seed now, so.
Yeah, we have the 3rd seed now, but like the talk before this game, where do you want to? You want to lose on purpose? I'm like, we're going to have to beat both of these teams if we want to have a shot to make the NBA Finals. And like, this is just my personal opinion. I think if we beat, obviously we got to get to the second round. I don't want to overlook Detroit, but if you beat Boston, do you know how much confidence mentally the Knicks would have going against the Cavs in the East? In my opinion, if they beat Boston in the second round, I think mentally every series is different, but I just think they'd have so much confidence that they could beat Cleveland. But if you beat Cleveland in the second round, that doesn't really give me enough juice because Boston does have our number a little bit mentally. I'm just talking about mentally, Sim.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to just we got to focus on the first round. It's not all terrible. So, I want to say a couple positive things. Shamet has looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shamet shot the ball pretty well here of late. I think that's a good thing. I think Mitch has got his feet under him a little bit. So that's been a positive. Those are two positives going into the playoffs, that Mitchell Robinson has gotten his feet wet a little bit. Shamet is shooting the rock well. Now, I have two questions for you. Jalen Brunson. If teams try and wear Jalen down, put as many defenders on him, do the Knicks have other answers besides Jalen Brunson when it's not the Jalen Brunson show, in your opinion?
I mean, Cat.
Do you believe they have enough answers?
They have Cat. I don't know if they have enough. I'm not sure if they have enough answers, enough consistent answers.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Not sure.
For me, the problem is if Brunson is not playing well, I think that the actual best adjustment for us is to sit him, as opposed to having him on the floor while playing well. I think some of our lineups without him, you know what I mean. When our defense goes up a little, another level, I think other guys could start to step up offensively and things of that nature. I don't know if we could win, like have other guys step up with Brunson on the floor, but not playing well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just frustrated because, like, I don't think people realize Jalen Brunson's not the biggest guy in the world. And as amazing as a player as he is scoring the ball, like, you can't just win in the playoffs with him just going off. Like, sure, he can win you a game doing that. But to be like the Bostons and the Clevelands that can throw out defenders at him, I can't ask him to be Michael Jordan. Like, and he also has to get off the ball. Like, so, like, we need the best of Bridges. We need the best of Anunoby. Like, it needs to be a type of offense where everybody is getting in double figures. So I just want to have as many answers to the test. And where my frustration comes in is I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't think they've taken enough advantage of the two-man game with Cat and Brunson in the pick and roll this year, in the regular season, in my opinion. I think that, like, you look at Boston, Tim, what they do with Porzingis, constantly with Derek White and Tate, like, they constantly manipulate. And do you think we've done a good enough job with Cat and Brunson in the two-man game, or is that, am I reaching, or am I nitpicking?
No, I agree with you. Early in the season, we used it a lot more than late in the season. Late in the season, it's become more, Brunson going one-on-one, or, trying to find Cat in the post, or, Cat for three. Just not enough two-man game between those two.
Right, because, like, Boston, they'll take away, like, and somebody will say, but Ron, they're going to take away Cat's three, Boston. So, yeah, you got to hit Cat in the post, and Cat's got to take advantage of that way. I just think the way they reset Boston on offense, the way they're constantly moving, and the space that Porzingis has on that three-point line, we can do that same exact thing. And I agree with you, Sim. Maybe we did it a little early on in the regular season. I just don't feel like we maximize Cat enough. Like, sure, I get mad when I say Cat doesn't have 6 threes a night. I understand it's how the defense dictates some of that, but if you're a great coach, don't you think you can get Cat enough open threes? Don't you think it's the coach's job and also the point guard's job. Isn't that correct?
I mean, I think we haven't seen the best of what this offense can offer, because I'm sorry.
Why haven't we seen the best?
Because it's been one season.
Okay.
Think about the teams that we're talking about here, right? Boston doesn't have to think about where to go with the basketball because they've been together for so long. Cleveland doesn't have to think. I mean, at least 3 years they've been together. The same time that Jalen Brunson came to this team, Donovan Mitchell went to that team, except the core 4 on Cleveland's team has been together for that entire 3 years.
That's fair.
OKC is the same way, right? G. Robinson asked the question, do we take into account that the top teams in the league have been together for years? And we've got to take that part into account when we're talking about how this offense operates. I said it with Shuttle on Tony's show, I think, the other day, right? It's much harder to break a habit than to form a habit.
Wait, say that again?
It's much harder to break a habit than to form a habit. It's easy to form a habit. But breaking habits is much tougher. So when you bring new guys together and you have a new coach, a new system, whatever it is, you may have to break some old habits and build some new habits, right? So now you're talking about, how do I play with this player? How do I play with that player? You've been playing with one player for so many years. You've developed some habits with that guy. Now you got a new player. So you got to break some old habits, develop some new habits. You got a new pocket pass, right? You got a guy that's 7 foot now instead of 6'8" that you got to pass the ball to in his shooter's pocket. You know what I'm saying? So it does take some. I mean, let's not forget there was a time when people were saying that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum need to be broken up.
That's true. That's a great. I'm not gonna lie. That is a good point. I mean, there was a lot of talk for several years about that.
Yeah,
there was.
You know what I'm saying?
And then they ended up getting Drew Holiday and KP, and that definitely helped things. And then those guys stepped up.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we have to. I'm going to criticize the team on what I see. It doesn't mean that I think they need to be broken up. It doesn't mean that I think they don't have the ability to get better. It's just this is what I see right now, and I'm looking at what I think they need, what I think the team needs. I think we need time to build that chemistry. I think we need some tough players around the edges.
Can you win a championship with Jalen Brunson as your point guard?
I don't know yet because I'm not sure that we've seen the full potential of Jalen Brunson and what he's going to be. Because one thing that a couple of people called.
So you're undecided. You don't know.
Yeah, I'm undecided.
It's unknown yet.
I'm undecided. A couple of people have made some good points about Brunson and things that we've talked about before. He's still learning how to run a team as the primary player, right? There's still stages of his growth, believe it or not.
Let me ask you this: in college, was he more of a scoring point guard at Villanova than a was he? Does he the way he plays in the NBA? Is that how he played at Villanova?
I think his footwork is better now. I mean, not that he didn't have good footwork then. I think he has a plethora, a wider range of moves now. But I do think that he had a similar type of game. You know what I mean?
Okay. I don't think people realize him. Like, I saw him up close in person. I don't think people realize how small a guy he is. I don't know what he's listed at. Like, obviously he's craft. He gets away with it because of his skill and craftiness. But people do not realize, like, if they put bigger guys on him, he has to give up the ball. Like, it's just like, I'm not trying to hate on Jalen Brunson because I love the guy, but he's not that big of a guy, Sim.
Yeah, I think. No, you're right. He's not that big of a guy. I think we have to see, does he develop what you're saying over the next 2 years? Right? That ability to, let me get people involved, and then now it's time for me to take over. You know what I'm saying? I still think he's been in the league for 6 years. Right? He didn't start off as the primary player on his team. He grew into the primary player on the Knicks. Right? His first, 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons was playing behind somebody else. You know what I mean?
Dallas, in Dallas, he played the 2. He wasn't the point guard.
And I think that's what he did in Villanova. Like, he shared the court with another guard, another arguably lead guard. You know what I mean? But they shared the duties.
Yeah, I think I think there's still growth with Jalen Brunson. So when you ask, can we win a championship with him? I want to see how he grows.
Let's see how he does. I mean, I ultimately, let's be honest. With all the stuff that's happened in the regular season, you and I both know this, Sim and Tony. this team will get judged by how the playoffs go. Let's be honest. You know, if it goes terrible, it's gonna be a lot of things. But if we thrive, nothing matters in the regular season. Nobody's gonna care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
what you, Spree? I appreciate it. Always a great
all
call,
right, man. Hey, hang in there. You know, I just want Brunson to be a champion, and he's not there yet, but I'm going to give him some time. Tibbs, I need to evaluate Tibbs too, Sim. This postseason, I have to evaluate Tibbs because I can't get out coached. Like, I have to find a way to beat these guys because I want to win a title, and we can be on the float together in the next 3 years. You have a good one.
So, all right. Peace. Yeah, let me get to a couple of super chats here. Paris Duggar said, why do we have a low ceiling, low energy, and IQ guys? I don't think we have a low ceiling. I know Jason Benjamin does, but I don't think we have a low ceiling. I think we have a high ceiling. I think we need to add some of those energy guys around the edges. You know what I mean? I mean, Brunson plays with energy. Josh Hart obviously plays with energy. I think Mikal Bridges is kind of a low energy guy. Cat is in between. OG is kind of in between. You know, I think we can add some of those guys around the edges. That's what I think. Paris, again, thank you for the super chat. He said, "Great coach!" ! Makes Cat play. A great coach makes Cat play and play to win tonight. Okay, I mean, I don't. So, makes Cat play so we beat the Cleveland Cavaliers so we can control our own destiny. Okay, I think we had enough to win without him tonight. But I can understand your argument there. I understand your argument. I don't know if I fully agree, but I understand. I definitely understand the argument. You know what I mean? You know, I'm sure the coaching carousel with the Knicks has their strategy to how they wanted to finish the season and who needed rest and, you know, how they wanted to rest guys and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Paris, again, up 19 on a 2-1 fast break. Bridges takes another 3 he never makes instead of a 2 instead of a 2-on-1 layup. That's the lack of focus thing. That's the bad coaching.
For not disciplining him?
If that's the case, then there's bad coaching all the way. Then the entire league is bad coaching because that's what we see almost every night in the NBA. If you're basing that, if you're saying it's bad coaching because of that, Paris, I don't know how old you are, but that's kind of old school right now. That's kind of old school thinking. Today, the 3 in today's NBA, regardless of what I may believe or you believe, in today's NBA, a 3-point shot on a fast break, even if you have a 2-on-1, is a legitimate shot. That's the way the NBA's play today. I think Mike Breen mentioned that today. That's how the NBA's play today. So,
and I don't think that was designed by Tibbs. So if it's bad coaching, that's maybe for not disciplining him, but not because it happened.
Right. And you don't know what was said. You don't know, you know. Listen, you're not going to take a player out after every bad shot. I'm sorry. Don't. I coach. You're not going to do that. I know there's a lot of people that believe in this whole philosophy that as soon as somebody makes a mistake, you snatch them out every single time. No. Some players have shorter leashes than others. That's not how real coaching is done just because someone takes a bad shot or what you believe to be a bad shot. I have a player who she can shoot the hell out of the ball. She can shoot the 3, but she was a little timid to shoot it. So I had to tell her, I want you to shoot every time you got the ball. I don't care where you are on the floor. And she can shoot the ball from beyond NBA range. She's in the 9th grade. I had to tell her, shoot the ball from wherever you get it. I don't care. Shoot it. Because I had to drill in her brain that she needs to shoot the ball. And so she would shoot. She started shooting sometimes bad shots. But that was okay. because I needed to drill in her brain to shoot the ball, and then I could reel her back in to what is a good shot, right? And that wasn't going to come with me disciplining her. It was going to come with me showing her what is a good shot, what is a bad shot. But first, you had to develop the mentality. And see, those are the things that people from the outside don't see. That's the problem a lot of times with everybody forming an opinion and making it a fact. People don't see or know exactly what's being said to players and what a coach or the coaching staff wants them to do or what they're trying to develop with that player. Because people would say, yo, why are you letting her shoot that shot? Most people, I just didn't care what they talked about. Some people I would explain to her parents, I would explain, we need her with this type of mentality because she's a little timid to shoot. So we need her with this type of mentality. Then we can bring her, we can reel her in. That's not a garbage answer. It's a garbage answer to you because it's not the answer you like. But it's a real answer. You know what I'm saying? It's a real answer. You know what I mean? You're saying Mikal Bridges was brought here to shoot threes. That's part of his basketball game. That's the way the NBA is played today. You know what I'm saying? So because you think it's wrong, doesn't mean that the coaching staff thinks it's wrong. By the way, he shoots 35% from the three-point line this year. He shot 37% last year. So, don't sit there and tell me he can't shoot threes. That's ridiculous. We've seen him get hot. You know what I'm saying? Come on. You know what I mean? It just bothers me because I am a coach. Because I am a coach, it just bothers me when people act like or think they know exactly what's happening, how a player is being developed, how a coach is telling, what a coach is telling a player to do, if the coach is telling them this or that, what players are saying to you. You don't, unless you're there. If it's your opinion that it's a bad three, perfect. Have your opinion. But that's all you can have. You really can't say, oh my God, that's bad coaching because he shot the three on a fast break and didn't get taken out the game. Because you don't know what else is going on the inside. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. You don't know what's going on beyond that. You only know what's on the surface. You don't know what's beneath. And that's just the truth. The Knicks lose 108-102 to the Cleveland Cavaliers for the fourth time, ladies and gentlemen. For the fourth time. They get out rebounded 49-35. Only 22 assists tonight for the Knicks. 11 steals for the Knicks, 2 blocks. Knicks only with 8 turnovers. Cleveland with 15. The Knicks had a 23-point lead, ladies and gentlemen. A 23-point lead, and they blew it. Knicks end up shooting 41% from the field, 39% from three. But you know what? They couldn't get stops when they needed it. Right? They couldn't get stops down the stretch. And that's another problem with this basketball team that I've seen too much. They can't get stops down the stretch. And I'm afraid that's going to be a problem in the playoffs against the better teams. Maybe not against Detroit. I think we beat Detroit. I'm not saying we won't have any problems down the stretch. We've seen over this, the past week and a half of basketball, bad fourth quarter basketball by the Knicks. Bad crunch time decisions, turnovers, missed layups. OG Anunoby, 6'8", he's on a layup and he can't step around this guy and make it. He gets the steal, can't step around Darius Garland to make the layup. You know what I'm saying? We've seen a lot of bad play down the stretch.
And this is all new because we've been top team in clutch all year. You know what I mean? Brunson's been top clutch player all year. So this is all within, you know what I mean, since Brunson came back, to be honest. Like the clutch area, you know what I mean, has been shaky.
Yeah, it has. It's been real shaky. Cleveland dominated the paint 52-34. Knicks were in the Cleveland were tied in the fast break department. The Knicks win the second chance points 16-7. But they didn't win the basketball game. They didn't win a game. Sean Kearns said Tibbs is a great defensive coach. He just has some players on his roster that doesn't know how to give defense. That Tibbs desires.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to use his players for their strengths. And he does do that. Part of the reason why you see the offensive defensive substitutions down the stretch of games when it's possible, right? Deuce for JB,
Mitch for Cat.
Mitch for Cat, right? We've seen those offensive defensive substitutions. The problem comes when it's hard to make those offensive defensive substitutions.
And I mean, honestly, you know what I mean? That is a problem in itself.
Mm-hmm.
That our two best offensive guys are our two weakest defensive guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's, you know what I mean? Especially when it's two of them, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, if it's one, it's a little easier to kind of overcome and withstand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that the best outcome for Tibbs, like to play the way his style, is starting Mitchell Robinson next to Cat.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest change that he can make that could really solidify us.
Yeah. Space
At
Ghost.
least defensively.
Yeah. Space Ghost said Garland was killing Bridges in the fourth. He was demolishing him. They should have doubled and got the ball out of his hands. That is coaching. I agree. That is something that they very well could have and should have done. Do you do it now?
And it was just bad reads. Like it wasn't entirely on Bridges. He was getting screened off every time, and it wasn't a switch. You know what I mean? It was a recovery, and I think that was that was an adjustment made by Garland. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're not switching. He's fighting for the recovery.
Yeah.
So if I get to my spot, or if I get enough of a head start off the pick, there's nothing he can do. He can't recover.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you, Tony, do you do that now? Do you show that now, doubling Garland, right? Do you show that now, or do you say, I'm going to wait until in the event that we played him in the playoffs, especially at the point in the game that you knew you already locked up the third seed?
You locked up the seed. I mean, I do think you do got to keep some things in your back pocket. You know what I mean? Some things that you may want to utilize in a moment that may determine, like, you do it in this moment and you win the game. It's not a surprise moving forward in at this point, which is a meaningless game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get in this opportunity, game 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals and tight game, and now you do it for the first time, that might impact you winning a more important, you know what I mean? So it's a more important reveal. So I could see him holding back,
Mm-hmm.
or I could see the logic in him holding back and not showing everything that they would potentially do in a series.
Mm-hmm.
Because those adjustments are way more important in a series than in a season. And that's and again, I'm not saying this is the case, because I don't want to be like giving Tibbs too much credit or not. But you know what I mean? It would make sense to hold some things back, because
it's a tough one.
In a series, by game 3, game 4, you know everything anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So now you can start implementing these things that they haven't seen.
Yeah.
Not only haven't seen all year, but you know what I mean, maybe haven't seen that point
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
point in the series.
It's a tough one because that would have been a good adjustment. And then, going with the mindset, let's control our own destiny. You know what I mean? You might say, well, let's just go out and win the way that we can win. That's a tough decision. You know what I mean? Someone whispers in your ear, hey, Indiana lost. We got the 3rd seed locked up. You might be like, all right, well, okay. What am I gonna do now? How am I gonna approach the rest of the game? Obviously, he decided to play his players, which I agreed with. Just finish out, win this basketball game. Do you show everything? I don't know. That's a tough one. Now, Paris Duggar said to Keith Turner, you don't have to take a player out, but you can curse him out for not making the winning play. Let's go back to something Shuttle said the other day, and that we had a discussion with on Knicks and Bruises. Every player is not the same player. Just because your coach could curse you out and you could respond doesn't mean that your coach could curse somebody else out and they respond. And you can say that person that they can't curse out is soft. You can say that. You can say that if you want to. Every player is not the same. You don't treat every player the same, right?
Some players gonna respond like Spreewell, you know what I mean? And some players,
exactly. You know what I'm saying? I have one motto. I have a motto when it comes to that. Yeah, you treat every player the same, and that's different. You don't have the same philosophy for the way that you approach every player. So you don't know if Tom Thibodeau can scream at Mikal Bridges and Bridges will respond to that. It's not one size fits all out there. He might be able to curse Brunson out, curse Derrick Rose out. He may not be able to do that to Cat or Mikal Bridges and get them to respond.
Or Jimmy Butler.
You know what I'm saying? Fred Vaughn said, I'm defending. No, I'm not defending Tibbs no matter what. I'm defending the right. I'm defending my philosophy. How about that? Because I keep seeing stuff that people are saying that they don't know the inside scoop about. That bothers me. When you don't know the inside scoop about what's actually happening and going on. Oh, you can curse him out. Can you really? Do you know if you can really curse that player out and he respond? Do you know that? You don't know that. You don't know what the hell might happen. You might end up, like Tony said, like PJ effing Carlissimo. You don't know. You don't know what's happened or transpired in practice in different parts. So you don't know. That's all I'm saying. If you want to say he could address him, okay. And maybe he did. You don't know that either because you're watching it on television. You don't know what the hell he said to him on the sideline. You don't know what the hell he screamed to him. You don't know. That's my problem. It's not about defending Tibbs. It's about people saying stuff that they really don't know if it happened or not. You don't know. You don't know.
Here you go, son.
That's what I'm saying. You don't know. Still Knicks fans, my man Ron. He said, we saw that in real time. Tough love from Tibbs worked for Randall, but it didn't work for Obi. There you go. That's all truth. Worked for Randall, didn't work for Obi. You just don't know how a player is going to respond. You know what I mean? Fred said, Sim, you got more excuses than a man on death row. Guess what? If I was on death row, I'm smooth enough to get out of death row. How about that? I'll get out of death row. I might be the only man in history to get out of death row. How about that? Paris said, my coaching career, trophies, and history in developing kids speaks for itself. And so does mine. And so does mine. And so does mine. I have from AAU championships to high school championships. Players in college. So, This is a different day and age. Different day and age. We're different ages, Parrish. We're different ages. You come from a different school of thought, and I respect that. Caller, you're live. Name me where you're from, please.
You say Quizzy, I'm from Allentown, PA.
Say that again.
Allentown, PA, say Quizzy.
Shay Quizzy. All right. What's going on, Shay Quizzy? Quizzy? I call you Quizzy.
Today looked like a little tank job. The way they was playing, like we keep blowing leads. Like, right? Yeah, this game doesn't matter, but it's like, come on, man, we could win this game, but it is what it is. But for the next game, I believe they should rest everybody, because right now it don't look like the team is they don't look motivated to like win a game, since right now it doesn't matter. So if you are going to play them, I believe you should play them for like 10 minutes. And I would rather see Deuce McBride Shamet play more, give them more shots, because right now, the way Shamet playing, he's been playing great. He's been making his shots, been aggressive. Deuce been playing great, coming back from that injury. He's been making his shots too, because playoff time, I'd rather you guys get their rest, because when playoffs come, that's when everybody getting judged. Bridges have a bad game, or OG have a bad game, it's going to get hot, because everybody knows. Playoff time coming around, everybody's playing 120%, so it shouldn't be games like this. But the only thing I worry about is that what I noticed around like the whole season is we blow a lot of leads. Like, say like ending the second quarter, say it's like 3 minutes left. For some reason, we always start blowing a lead, like a team could go on like a 5-0 run before the quarter ends. And then going into the third, that's when we'll give up the quarter. They're going to 8-0 run, no matter what team, Boston, Cavs, Detroit, even like 76ers, even the bad teams. Even though we won those games, it's probably most likely because they didn't have the firepower. Mm-hmm. They didn't have Embiid. They didn't have none of the good players. So even though we won, we still blow a lot of leads. And the one thing I'm worried about is if a team get hot, starting like the first quarter. Because this team, we don't really see them like coming back. Usually a team get hot, say a team go 15-2, 15-5 run, like we usually don't come back. We have fake comebacks where we make it close, but we'll never win those type of games. Like the only ones I can really think of is like Miami, like the beginning, but it's like if it's the good teams, we don't really win those games.
Yeah,
but
I know that.
I love like seeing McBride play, Shaman play, and all them play. Even Robinson had a good game, but playoffs is on the way. I don't really care about Sunday game. I'm worried about Detroit right now. But that's all I really got to say.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think the Knicks should rest their guys, get an extra day's worth of rest. Shea Quizzy, appreciate it. Get an extra day's rest for, Brunson and Cat. I don't know. Brunson might want to play just so he can, continue to get his rhythm back. What do you think, Tony? Should they rest all the starters, or maybe Brunson and Mitch play, just so they can keep getting that rhythm? You know what I'm saying? You're muted.
No, I agree 100%. Keep let Brunson play. Play, get back in rhythm. Let Mitch get another start under his belt, and rest Cat. He's been bruised knee and finger all year. Rest Hart, he's been laboring all year. Mikal's minutes and OG's minutes been up. So yeah, give them that extra rest. Everything is in play. You know what I mean? And then play extra minutes for some of the rotational guys and some of the guys on the bubble that might see some time. Yeah. Let them get some extra reps.
Yeah.
At this point, one more game ain't gonna maximize the chemistry, ain't gonna fix any issues right now that we have as a team. You know what I mean? So I think the rest would help more than one more game of trying to build something.
Yeah. Okay. Parrish, thank you again for the super chat. I really appreciate you. He said, we keep seeing the same guys playing dumb, being bad, and doing dumb things. Also, you either play everyone to win or play nobody. Halfway looks like this. I mean, just because somebody continues to do something dumb, I don't think that means they're not being coached. It may mean that this guy is more talented than this guy, and you need him out there on the floor, so you got to live with some of the dumb decisions, like John Starks. You know, sometimes it's that way. You know, sometimes it's that way. I don't know. I guess I just don't see the same things that everybody else sees. I mean, I see some bad decisions that I see in every game that I watch. I don't think it's abnormal. That's my. I don't see anything abnormal that everyone else sees. I think it's just we got to find something to complain. I mean, it's like this every year. We know that, Tony, right? When Julius Randle, what did I say last year? When people was hating, they was mad at you. I said, when Julius Randle's gone, the next guy is going to be Jalen Brunson. And now, all we hear, not from everybody, but from a lot of people, Jalen Brunson can't win with him, dribbles too much, shoots too much. And I agree with some of that, you know, but it's always going to be somebody. If we get Greg Popovich, he's too old.
I was just about to say that. That's going to be the first one.
You know what I'm saying? He's too old. You know, he can't do it in New York. You know what I mean? It's going to be something with everybody. I can promise you that. DeMarco, thank you for the super chat. He said, I believe in this team. Knicks should beat the Pistons in 5 or 6 games tops. What's your prediction? I think the Knicks win in 6.
Knicks in 6. Yep. Don DeMarco.
Yep, I think the Knicks win in 6. And then I'm hoping, I really do, though, hope that it's a tough 6 games. Well, like I said, the first 4 games are really, 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 really tough. Push the Knicks to the limit, and then the Knicks figure out how to play with that aggressiveness and that toughness, and then blow them out the other 2 games and have us ready and mentally prepared to face Boston. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'd like to see. You know, against the Pistons. You know, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun series. You know what I mean? Because the Pistons are an upstart team. You know, they surprised everybody this year. 44-37 right now in the season. You know, their next game doesn't mean anything. They'll probably end up 44-38. Really doesn't mean much. You know, it's going to be a very good playoff series. The Knicks lost 3-1 to the Detroit Pistons. Pistons believe they can beat the Knicks. I think the Knicks believe that they're the superior team. I think the Knicks are the superior team. You know, it's going to be a fun series to watch. Starts next weekend. You know what I mean? Starts next weekend. Well, Tony, I'm gonna head up out of here. Whatnot. Any last thing you want to say before the night's over? Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I don't know if I did.
I think it was a disappointing loss. You know, even though it's not that we lost, it's the fact that we blew that lead. You know what I mean? It's how we lost more than anything. Because even if we won, you know, they sat, 3 key players. We sat 1 key player.
Tips, man.
I'm sorry, you threw me off with that one. But
I take it. Whatever, if that's what you want to say.
Yeah, we should beat Detroit. You know what I mean? We should be able to figure them out. They're gonna be a real test. I think they coming in there with confidence, knowing that they beat us 3 times this year. Great turnaround story based off of last year. You know what I mean? So they got a lot of they kind of like a Cinderella story in a sense.
Yeah.
If you look back to where they were last year to their accomplishment, but I'm just glad we did, man. We you know what I mean? This the true test. This is what we've been waiting for. we said it all year. Nothing matters until the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's and the playoffs is here. So
You know, I do have one question before we get out of here. Somebody, I seen it. I think at the end of the last show, asked this question, and then we'll get up out of here. They said, if the regular season doesn't matter, then why are we so upset that we couldn't beat the elite teams? Why are we so upset that we couldn't beat Cleveland or Boston or OKC? Why are we so upset that we didn't beat,
For me personally, Sim, it's like I just said. It's not that we didn't win. It's how we lost these games. It's how we lost to them. You know what I mean? Like most of those games weren't competitive. You know what I mean? Most of those games weren't down to the wire. And then, including tonight, the ones that, other than that the last Boston game, either we got smacked completely or we was up big and blew a lead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why they do matter to me. But I still acknowledge anything can happen once the series starts.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Once the series starts.
Yeah. Right. Obviously, anything can matter. But, Paris said the answer is the regular season does matter. Yeah, it matters. It matters in building your chemistry. I mean, obviously, the whole season is like a playoff. I mean, if you don't make the playoffs, you don't have a chance in the playoffs, right? Jed Williams said, great question that makes no sense. Yeah. But I'm going to get up out of here. I do have one more thing that I'm going to leave everybody with. It's not even about basketball. You have a salt and pepper shaker. One shaker says, you're the salt. The other one says, to my pepper. I've seen this on Instagram. Which one does the salt go into? One says, you're the salt. Then the other one says, to my pepper. So the one that says, to my pepper, you put pepper in it. The other one says, you're the salt. So the other one is saying, I'm not the salt.
Yeah, I think you put the salt in the one that says to the pepper. And you put the pepper in the one that says you're the salt.
But the one that has pepper on it says, to my pepper.
That's true. I guess it's two salt shakers.
Or two pepper shakers.
Or two pepper shakers.
I don't know. Anyway, we up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Nick.